injuries, all of these injuries, from the headaches that are based on carbon monoxide production, all the way down to the chips of the bones, the tweaks, the twists, all of these are mediated by high ammonia circulation and chronic flight or fight syndrome throughout the body. All right? Look in other mammals. Look in other mammals. White muscles disease. White muscles disease. So this is, again, a part of this wall, this silence on melanin right here. Because in animals, they would tell you if they have copper and selenium deficient, it causes all the muscles in their body to turn white. It causes all the muscles to turn white. Why? What is that? That's that ammonia and sulfur. That's that ammonia and sulfur. I'm showing you the actual tissues. So it should be no question. If it's happening inside their muscles, it's worse than yours because you, melanin, is completely dependent upon selenium for all its antioxidant activities and completely dependent upon copper and copper derivatives for electron conduction. So what do we have going on? Look at our athletes. There you go. Bring it out.
That's what it is. Best teammates in the world. That's what it is. We come to party. You ready, Harry? Turn this shit up. appreciate you for riding. By the way, Bruins, we on vacation, peace, and rest in peace. Rest in peace to the parking lot. Phantom so busy, can't even fit the parking spot. You fuck around, you slow. The most Pat Riley! To Pat Riley, the world goes to Pat Riley!
All right. Minister, why you put them balls on blast like that? Because this is our idea of success. We celebrate success with the alcohol. We don't get it. Sulfathiol, so that we understand what sulfathiols are, because I know I've been saying that quite a bit. Sulfathiols are sulfur-based alcohols. Sulfur-based alcohols. So we got to understand that. How many nights a week is that bottle popping going on in the club by our athletes? How many days a week? Right there, okay. I know that was the championship. They just won the second championship in Miami. We supposed to go drinking. We supposed to get drunk, right? Who said that? Who the fuck told us that? Who said that we celebrate success by getting drunk? Where do we get that behavior pattern from? Who told us to do that? Like, we got to understand where programming comes from. We got to recognize it. When we start doing shit that's toxic to the body, we got to say, where do we get the idea to do this from? Okay. All right. So let's look at it. Sugar plus nitrogen equals alcohol. Uh-oh. See, so now we get it. Sugar plus nitrogen equals alcohol. Sugar plus nitrogen equals alcohol. So, sulfathiols are sulfur-based alcohols. Sulfur-based alcohol. Sugar plus nitrogen equals alcohol. In the absence, and this is the chemical formula right here. So you see the carbohydrate, glucose, gets converted to ethanol and carbon dioxide and heat. All right. What does the conversion? Yeast. All right. This is why yeast is constantly being rammed down your throat in your diet. Bread is everywhere. Bread is everywhere. And bread is not even something that was a part of diets. Bread is a European thing that's only a few hundred years old. In the absence of free dissolved oxygen, the yeast will continue to breathe by scavenging oxygen from the sugar molecules. All right? So it's not that yeast don't need oxygen, it's that yeast can get oxygen other ways. The yeast does not consume sugar as food, but the other nutrients, the yeast strips oxygen from the sugar molecules in order to avoid suffocating. Under optimal conditions, a yeast cell is able to split its own mass of glucose, about 200 million molecules, into alcohol and carbon dioxide every second. All right, this is how much alcohol is being produced in your body from yeast. All right, how much carbon dioxide is also being produced from these yeast. The two key ingredients in yeast growth are nitrogen and sulfur. Nitrogen and sulfur. You have to understand this. Nitrogen, which compose 10% of a yeast body, and sulfur. Bacteria can double in number every 20 to 30 minutes, but yeast takes 3 hours. All right? So guess which one will win the race if an infection gets started and you don't deal with it. All right? You got to see how this yeast thing works. Not all products of fermentation are toxic. I will state that as a disclaimer. Endocarbonol from cabbage and the cruciferous family kills cancer. Is very healthy for the body. But we have to understand what it is that we're doing. Right? Ooh. Minister, what are you doing? Yes. Are you consuming the ingredients to make beer in your gut? Are you trying to make that champagne in your gut, in your bloodstream? Did you just win a damn championship? Okay? Brewer's yeast. Brewer's yeast is not for your consumption. Suitable for vegetarians. You see that shit? Somebody should slap the shit out of Solgar. Suitable for vegetarians. Brewer's yeast is not for your consumption. It is to brew, like its name says, alcohol. All right? Now, nutritional yeast. I had to put this here because people are getting crazy about this. There are whole vegetarian restaurants that have beef with Minister Inky because of me sharing this information with you. All right? Nutritional yeast is only nutritional because they did two things to it. They reduced the bitterness, which means they took the natural minerals out. They reduced the natural mineral compounds. And then they added, look right there where the arrow is, fortified with additional B vitamins. Now, those people in the class, they know exactly where the B vitamins come from. All right, you can look it up. In fact, I go into niacin specifically. All right, but these things are synthesized from tobacco and ammonia, so you can look it up yourself. These B vitamins are synthesized from tobacco and ammonia, so they added ammonia and tobacco to yeast for you to consume. That is all you got to do is put that in your body for it to start making alcohol immediately. Okay? Identity theft of Africans by Europeans will not be complete until your very essence is theirs. Okay? Allomelanin. Allomelanin is another type of melanin produced from plants, and they are extracting it and trying to whatever. Anxiety determines modern landscapes depending on target demographic. This is why you see all these liquor stores in the hood. This is biological warfare. Oh no, we're not going to go too fast through that. Let me bring that back. And this is why everybody gets to promote alcohol. See, this is a part of the major thing. This is a part of the give and take of success in the Western modality. Unless you are your own man, unless you are an entrepreneur, right? Otherwise, you're going to have to make certain concessions. So look, everybody, let's do this alcohol deal. And these guys, in their defense, they have no idea what it is that they're doing. They're just growing. Their influence is growing on the people, and because their influence is growing, they see big companies coming to them to offer them contracts to advertise products. That's it. It's not like there's some secret situation where Pitbull, got initiated by Ludacris, and you get too deep and start thinking crazy and weird shit. Okay? These are people that made it out the hood, so they're trying to do good business, and promoting products, product endorsement is a good way to make money. So they have no idea what it is that they're doing. But if you notice, look at the top right corner right there. Famous faces ride for spirits brands. For spirits brands. See, that was the original name of alcohol. Because what alcohol does is it shuts down your electromagnetic grid and allows other spirits to come into your body. See, I don't want to get too spiritual, too deep on you, okay? But this is why if you get too drunk, you won't remember what you did because it wasn't you doing the doing. It was some other entity in charge. And this is why they took spirits off of liquor stores. They took that name down because people were starting to wake up and generate too many questions, right? But this is what you got to see. Push that liquor to them black folks. You got to do it. Yeah, you got to do it. Yeah, you got to do it. You got to push that liquor. Crazy. Histonic, available exclusively at KamenuInc.com. Now, back on the sports. Okay, back on the sports. I did a whole video on this, so I'm not going to go through it here, but I'm just putting the information up so I can reference it for you, and then you could do your own deeper research. Modern sports that we take for granted are actually ancient rituals. Ancient rituals. So we have to be mindful that we understand what it is that we're doing when practicing these ancient rituals coupled with rigorous physical exercise. This is blowing the chakra system wide open in the body so that we can conduct tremendous amounts of energy throughout the body that are being the rewards of which are being reaped by other people, and channeling this tremendous amount of energy throughout the body creates a cascade of events. If we are not trained to understand what it is that we're doing, it leads us to drugs and other kinds of things because we're looking for a way to get some sort of control or grip on our reality. And this is how sometimes the reality escapes from some of our best and brightest, particularly the athletes, because of the fact that their chakra system is wide open, and most people don't even know what chakras are. They think chakras are some weirdo, circles of light that's somehow sitting in the top of your anus and on the top of your head, and you got to be enlightened to really see it, and it just gets weird. All right, but this is a serious science, and a lot of our ancient sciences are dumbed down and made fun of to us in a way so that we dismiss it out of hand, while other people are spending trillions of dollars researching these things and using them against you. So We just have to be focused and on the alert. All right, wait, let's get a better one. What's up with my slides? All right, let's find a better. Okay, here we go. This is good. All right, this is good. No textbooks in any school will show a simple yet powerful biological fact. This is the melanin code of silence again, family. This is another thing that's a part of this melanin code of silence. But pay attention, because what's shown here is the ammonia cycle. All right? The key, alanine, the key transporter. Muscles to liver, blood is in the middle. All right? This is that ammonia cycle. So pay key close attention to the players in this ammonia cycle. Right? Your glutamate, pyruvate, and your alpha ketoglutarate. Watch these guys. Watch these guys. Watch how this happens. Now let's go back again to this guy. All right. This time we got the notations in there. All right. So watch this. First things first, I want you to pay attention to. Take your notes. Glutamate binds with methionine as well as cysteine. These are two entry points / exit points, either way, however you want to work that, where the sulfur cycle binds with the ammonia cycle. Now, on the left, here's where, again, or rather, let me modify that first one. This is where ammonia, glutamate, nitrogen binds with sulfur. Now, here's where you see the actual cycles merging. Right here with our pyruvate and our ammonia. Right here. You see the arrows from the upper left-hand corner showing you where the ammonia cycle merges right in with our sulfur cycle. Right? And now I'm naming it the Enki-Wusir cycle because I've discovered. I'm sure I'm not the first one to discover it. But I'm certain that I'm the first one to put it on Front Street, right? Because this is something, again, that's kept secret. This is what makes Europeans European. This is why they smell the way they smell. This is what's going on in them. That sulfur and that ammonia is blending together, recycling one another. Okay? Trans-deamination, right? Due to L-amino acid oxidases, but not glutamate. They can slow down the rate of deamination, you see? Not glutamate, because glutamate is going to increase the rate of deamination. It's going to increase that ammonia production. So the most important and rapid way to deaminate or to deamination of amino acids is first transamination with alpha ketoglutarate, followed by deamination of glutamate. Therefore, glutamate through transdeamination serves to funnel ammonia from all amino acids. Let's get this work. Let's get this work. All right. This here, I just have this here for more in-depth scrutiny. So you have this. So you can see how gluconeogenesis, which plays a role in ammonia production as well, can enter into or become a part of that ammonia and sulfur cycle. All right. And then here, pay close attention, come all the way down. I know you see this globe-like oval thing. Come down to like the left-hand corner, so to speak. All right. You see methionine on the left side. Then you see homocysteine under that. You see CBS. Right now, you should kind of be able to understand some of the madness that you see in this diagram. But under that, you see cystathionine, and then you see cysteine. Now, the cysteine, your body is trying to get rid of it excretion in feces or urine, right? Monoglutamates, right? Monoglutamates. All we missing for monoglutamates is sodium for MSG seasoning. So excretion, feces and urine. Look what glutathione wants to do. Glutathione is how glutamate bonds with cysteine to rescue cysteine from getting kicked out of the body and becomes glutathione. That's what glutathione is. All right, it's glutamate with cysteine. All right, so it's that ammonia precursor with the sulfur coming together, creating new compounds or new protein / amino acids in the body. All right. So I just want you to get the science on this shit so nobody can't tell you nothing crazy. All right. Regulation of pigment. Let's get back to this work. The regulation of pigment is very complex. To date, more than 120 genes have been identified. When keratinocytes are exposed to the sun's rays, they produce melanin or melanocyte-stimulating hormone. MSH stimulates receptors on the surface of melanocytes, causing them to produce more melanin. Particularly important in the regulation of the tanning reaction are the transcription regulator proteins, MITF and P53. Okay. Chromosome number 19. All right. Chromosome number 19 is where the gene that encodes for melanocortin receptors are found. All right. Crucial. MC1R gene provides instructions for making a protein called melanocortin 1 receptor. This receptor plays an important role in normal pigmentation. The receptor is primarily located on the surface of melanocytes, which are specialized cells that produce a pigment called melanin. Melanin is the substance that gives skin, hair, and eyes their color. The gene for the receptor is on chromosome 19. Melanocytes make two forms of melanin, eumelanin and pheomelanin. The relative amounts of these two pigments help determine the color of a person's hair and skin. People who produce mostly eumelanin tend to have brown and black hair and dark skin that tans easily. People who produce mostly pheomelanin tend to have red, sometimes blonde hair, freckles, and light-colored skin that tans poorly. Pheomelanin is a compound that gives hair its red color. Melanocortin 1 receptor controls which type of melanin is produced by melanocytes. When the receptor is activated, it triggers a series of chemical reactions inside melanocytes that stimulate these cells to make eumelanin. If the receptor is not activated or blocked, melanocytes make pheomelanin instead of eumelanin. Now, that tells us something else. What has to be present in order to produce pheomelanin? Sulfathiols. What have I already shown you happens with nitric oxide in melanocytes? It destabilizes them. So these compounds that are present destabilize the receptors on the melanocytes, destabilize the receptors on the melanocytes, and thus this is how pheomelanin is produced instead of eumelanin. No enzymes are required. So obviously, again, I have to state, there's no liquid sulfur and ammonia naturally present in brown, black, and yellow people. Obviously, there's not, because there wouldn't be eumelanin production. Common variations or polymorphisms in the MC1R gene are associated with normal differences in skin and hair color. Certain genetic variations are most common in people with red hair, fair skin, freckles, and increased sensitivity to sun exposure. The MC1R polymorphisms reduce the ability of the melanocortin 1 receptor to stimulate eumelanin production, causing melanocytes to make mostly pheomelanin. If only half of the receptors on the melanocyte activate eumelanin production, enough eumelanin is made to produce black or brown hair. So red hair is recessive. The right gene for the receptor protein has to be obtained from each parent to have red hair. I hope y'all getting this work.